I'm glad we're starting to turn a new leaf and admit that shame needs to be brought back to society on a extremely aggressive level. The fact that girls will just go on the street and do interviews that go viral and say the craziest shit that you literally could not waterboard out of me. They'll just be like, yeah, I cheated on with his brother and then I sucked 10 dicks that night. And you're just like, yeah, this is good. No, that's a good, yeah, the fact that you feel no shame, embarrassment, remorse, like quite literally any of the things that make you not a sociopath is really
I 100% agree. For anyone who thinks that shame is not a positive force in this world, let me break this down for you. A world without shame is a world without morality, without standards, without a sense of right and wrong. If you have a moral code, a conscience, a set of principles, then shame is the natural reaction that you have, the emotion that arises when you act contrary to those principles. Let me demonstrate. As a man, you value integrity. So when you lie, cheat, defraud somebody, you act against that integrity, you feel ashamed of yourself, as you should. That's completely normal and natural. The shame that you're feeling is evidence that you do have a moral code. But therefore, if you have a woman who says, I have no shame, you can't shame me, what she's admitting is that she has no morality. Observe.
Y'all really on this app thinking you can hurt my feelings by slut shaming me when there is nothing wrong with being a slut. Try again, baby. I'm for the streets and I'm proud of it.
Because she has no morality, no sense at all that her sluttiness is problematic, she can't feel shame. Women like this actually don't know what morality is. The concept of some behaviors or some choices being more moral or less moral and they should be compared and valued against each other, that concept is completely foreign to women like this. They live in a moral wasteland. So you ask the question, in the absence of any standards for behavior, how do you judge morality? How do modern women who think like this determine whether something is good or bad, right or wrong? I encourage you to try it out. Find one of these modern women and tell them a behavior that you think is immoral. And I guarantee what's going to happen is she's going to say, it's completely fine so long as everybody gives their consent. They will never have a discussion about the actual merits of a certain behavior or choice. They'll always bring it back to consent, about whether or not people have made a choice to do that. Even if you try and argue your point on the merits, she's just going to become defensive and say, well, I have the right to do that. I have the freedom to do that. Who are you to try and control me? You say, I don't think women should sleep around. They shouldn't just have sex with anybody. And she says, who are you to restrict women's sexual choices? You say, I think women should embrace their femininity. And she says, who are you to dictate how a woman should behave? You can't control her. You say, I think it's wonderful when women celebrate and embrace motherhood. She says, stop trying to enslave women, forcing them to have children. Do you see the sleight of hand that is occurring here? You keep trying to have a discussion about the moral merits of an action, but she keeps reframing that discussion to make it about consent, always implying that you're trying to restrict her freedom, trying to control her behavior. This new generation of women has adopted the view that consent equals morality. In other words, any action that she takes is justified because it's her choice. It's good because she chose to do it. But you can see that doesn't really make sense. Consent is not a moral code. Whether or not you are free to choose to do something tells you absolutely nothing about whether or not that thing is good to do, whether that choice is a positive one or not. Consider this woman.
How long you been dating?
We're not dating.
Oh, dating. But y'all hooking up?
Yeah. Hooking up.
Would you hook up with me?
Sure.
You would?
Yeah.
Can I hug you?
Sure.
So gross. Okay, I'm going to make the case that this woman's actions and her choices are immoral. But first, I'm going to affirm all the things that she is free to do, all the things that exist perfectly freely within her own consent. She is free to wear that trashy dress that barely covers her underwear. She is free to be publicly intoxicated. She's free to have sex with a man that she's not even dating. She is free to disrespect that man by hooking up with another guy in front of him. All of these things she's free to do by her choice with her own consent. These are decisions that she's absolutely allowed to make, but none of that makes her choices moral. Morality is concerned with what is good, what is right, what is desirable. And by that standard, it's clear that self-destruction is not a good thing. Getting drunk, dressing slutty, sleeping around, disrespecting, the man that you're with. This is not good. This is not helping anybody. This is to nobody's benefit. I could not disagree with this woman's choices anymore, but it is incredibly dishonest to frame my objections, my criticisms of her behavior as immoral, as in any way me restricting her freedom. Me saying that I think that she's acting really stupid is not violating or undermining her consent to live her life the way that she wants. Words are not violence, and my disapproval is not control. While I am ethically obliged to respect your freedom to make whatever choices you want with regards to your own life, that does not extend to me being forced to morally approve of all of your choices, to consider them moral. What we're talking about here is the difference between negative freedom and positive freedom. I'm going to explain what I mean by that in just a moment, but first I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Bathmate. A lot of guys dismiss penis pumps because they think it's just for dudes who want their cock to be bigger, but it's so much more than that. It's about strong erections. It's about penis health. You know the reason why you get random boners throughout the night? It's for the health of your cock. It's good to have blood flow in and out. It's like exercise for your penis. It means that you're going to have good erections into old age. That same blood flow into your penis can be achieved using the Bathmate hydro pumps. You use these products in the shower, which means that this is filled with water, which is very important because it means that the pressure is distributed evenly. That provides the environment that you need to draw blood safely into your cock to give yourself a strong erection. These products are a game changer for anybody who's dealing with erectile dysfunction and doesn't want to go the pharmaceutical route. When you're using Bathmate products, you're not relying on chemicals to make your cock hard, to get those strong erections. And for anybody who's dealt with erectile dysfunction, you know that psychologically it's going to be a big help to actually see your cock strong and hard. These guys offer a 60-day money-back guarantee, which is an incredible offer. There's no risk. It's a high-quality product manufactured in the UK, inspected by the FDA. It's worth giving it a try. A 60-day money-back guarantee, that's amazing. You want to find out more about how it works, click the link in the description box below. Okay, let's return to the difference between positive freedom and negative freedom, and why so few modern women seem to understand the difference. Negative freedom is the freedom to act without physical restraint. And this is what women in the West have. There are no laws against dressing slutty, getting drunk, hooking up with random guys. The absence of any laws that would physically prevent women from doing that is the negative freedom that women in the West enjoy. But they do not enjoy positive freedom. But these same women do not have the positive freedom to make those choices and at the same time receive universal moral approval from those around them. They can't make those choices and then expect that they're going to do so in an environment that's just always celebrating and cheering them on. They can't force me to give my moral approval. And the expectation that they should be able to act however they want without any kind of judgment is incredibly childish or even borderline narcissistic. Sure, I get it. It might be nice if everybody was constantly cheering you on, telling you that your choices are incredible, but how delusional are you to think that you're entitled to that? These modern women, they've got to stop whining and whinging because they can't have it all.
Being a woman is hard. You have no boobs? You better grow some. You have boobs? Cover yourself up. You have no ass? Everyone will laugh at you. You have an ass? You better cover yourself up. You don't want to attract too much attention. You're short, you better wear high heels. You're tall, you cannot be taller than men. You're skinny, you better eat something. You're chubby, you better starve yourself. Otherwise, no one will find you pretty. Breaking news, you might as well do whatever you want because you'll be shamed anyway.
God, women like this are so insufferable, crying and complaining because they don't get universal approval. What exactly does she think that she's entitled to? That everybody agree with every choice that she makes? That everyone approves of everything that she does and considers every one of her choices to be moral? She thinks that's reasonable to expect that? God, spare me. And again, you can see the deceptive framing of this discussion, you know? When we're talking about being too skinny or too fat, it's not about the merits of those choices. No, the discussion's always centered on men expressing their preferences, trying to control and shame women. It's so frustrating. We saw in my course how difficult it is to deal with women like that. But then what's the alternative? What does it look like when a woman actually engages in good faith in a moral discussion about the merits of certain choices? When she doesn't just cry victim and scream out, "I'm free to do this, you can't control me," but she actually engages in the substance of the discussion. Well, let's take two typical examples. Number one, that women shouldn't be sleeping around and just racking up huge numbers. And number two, that she shouldn't be dressing slutty in public. Again, not saying she doesn't have the freedom to do those things. Just saying these are not moral choices. They're not good for her. They're not to her benefit. Well, let's hear from a woman who actually engages in the substance and discusses the morality morality of those choices.
Are you a virgin?
Yes,
And how old are you?
I'm 21.
Why haven't you done the deed yet?
The key to a strong society is family. And so, in my view, choosing my future husband is like the most important decision I'll ever make. And I'm somebody that I know my heart, and I know that I fall really hard when I meet somebody. So I want to retain some level of objectivity when I'm selecting a future partner. And I know that if I had sex with them, I would be completely imprinted on them. And instead of being like, okay, is this person, do they have the qualities that I'm looking for in a husband, or am I just making it work instead of like seeing red flags and leaving?
God, wasn't that refreshing to hear? A thoughtful, considered, rational response. Not just screaming, my body, my choice, everyone's trying to control me, la la la. Actually engaging with the content of the question and discussing the merits and the reasoning behind her choice. She's showing self-awareness. She's showing insight. Let's hear what she says about clothing.
Is there any reason why you're dressed so modestly instead of revealing like most women tend to do when they come out to Miami?
I mean, this is just my personal sense of style. I just think it's respectful to others and to my future partner, and to myself, to just cover myself up more. I know that I, take care of myself. I'm pretty athletic, but I don't need to have that on display.
This is what a true discussion of morality looks like. Engaging with the merits of a decision, considering the impact of your behavior on others and on yourself. When people write to me on Hey Hero asking for moral guidance, I don't tell them, well, you're free to do that if you want, because that doesn't tell them anything. They want to actually know, are these decisions going to be good for me, or are they going to harm me? It is such a painfully childish and superficial idea of morality to only talk about whether or not you're free to do something. Let me say it again. Consent is not a measure of morality. Whether you are free to do something tells you nothing about whether that is actually a good idea. And what I'm about to say, I say with 100% women's best interests at heart. But modern women, feminism has got you facing the wrong direction. It's got you looking out for a boogeyman. You keep expecting that in the shadows around the corner, there's going to be this sexist patriarch who's just desperate to steal away your rights and restrict your freedom. They are provoking this fear inside your psyche constantly, and it's getting inside your head so that in every conversation that you're having about the morality of your choices, you keep bringing that frame back to, well, I'm allowed to do it. I'm free to do it. Modern women have been so obsessed with the discussion of whether or not they're free to do something that they've forgotten to actually have the discussion about whether that thing is a good idea. Ladies, if you live in the West, let me ease your worries and make you feel safe. You have freedom. You have rights. You are free to make your own choices, even bad choices. I mean, my God, over the last couple of decades, we've certainly seen enough evidence that yes, everybody, man and women included, can make terrible, terrible choices about the way that they choose to live their lives, and they are free to do so. No one's coming to restrict that. Now, that's been established, okay? Feel good, feel safe. You can make bad choices if you really, really want to, but please don't let that be the end of the discussion. Have some curiosity in your mind. Okay, I am free to do stupid things, but should I do them? Are these choices that I'm making actually benefiting me?
Men don't like that. Women with face, hair, neck tattoos, quality men don't like that. Women walking around here with these inflated butts following behind them like wagons. There are men that like that, but it's definitely not a quality man because quality men don't like that. Women who are in and out the strip club, making it rain, acting like real live dudes. You're not a man. How unattractive. Quality men don't like that. Women who are in and out of relationships. In November, you with Ray Ray. In December, you with Tay Tay. Not only do you look trashy, you look nasty. Quality men don't like that. A quality man may play with that, but a quality man will never commit to that because quality men don't like women like that. However, you do you. But a quality man wants a quality lady who carries herself like a real lady. Quality men don't find shot out, thugged out women interesting, attractive, or appealing. That's why most are single, ringless, in and out of relationships because quality men won't settle down with women like that. And yes, it is a man's job for him to respect a woman, but it's a woman's job to give him something to respect. Be smart, date smart, choose wisely.
Now, men, maybe some of you are confused because you don't understand how you can reconcile a value system that criticizes choices, but also grants people the freedom to make those choices. Isn't it a case of if you don't like what somebody is doing, you force them to stop? No, that's a very basic childlike version of morality and a way of interacting with other people. There's a much more sophisticated moral code that you should be living by. If you want to hear what that system of morality looks like, I give a full explanation in the full version of this video, which is available on my Patreon. Here on YouTube, what I post is only the shortened, abridged versions of my videos. If you want to see me go into a lot more depth, then come over to Patreon.